All right. Get the socials. I think that's good. Oh, that copy. Oop. Swear I would forget my own ass if it wasn't attached. What's going on, Wookster? Fuck off, ad block. Facebook, you don't need to know my location. You know enough. You know too much already, Facebook. Oh, how's everyone doing tonight? Anybody else under the cover of the Snowmageddon Part 2, 2026? 6 billion tons of white bullshit. We're getting it in Ohio. And I, for one, hate it even more. I don't care if Zuckerberg wants to know where I live. He already knows where I live. And I'm waiting to see when he shows up at my door with beer and like raging pinky nipples, because that's probably what he's got. I don't think he's got pepperoni nipples. I think he's got like those big, like, cow teats poking out. And yeah, apparently that's how tonight's going to go. So, yeah, y'all are going to get some up there. I know Gibbs, he's not here tonight because he's getting ready for about 2 feet of it. So we all know he's used to taking several inches, but tonight he's going to be taking all the inches. So that's a thing that's happening. Hi, Farrell. I do not want Zuck to be any spoon, personally. I don't care if he wants to be a spoon. So he can just join in whatever silverware bits he wants to. Well, I mean, half a foot's not bad. I mean, a lot of women don't complain about that. So, if it's the big moist flakes, then that's cool. Well, lake effect can be fun. I mean, that's where you get the good snowball and snow fort stuff. So, all right. I think I've got my notes ready. Everything's good on my end. Hey, Roxa, welcome in. And Assholes React, hello. All right. Yeah, I think we are just about ready to roll. Excuse the video obscenities over here. I'm working with what I got. Tonight, obviously, I'll be flying solo. Gibbs and Gibbles had to tend to some life stuff, so it's just going to be me. The options were either don't do a show, rerun an old episode, or fucking just wing it. So I opted to just go with the send it. But we'll try to keep it kind of brief, and I'll try not to just yell into the mic for an hour. Yes, sir. We will yeet it to the sun. So, and hello on YouTube. We're trying this out on the dual stream again tonight because why not? I actually got that looking a little bit better than I did last week, but again, just one thing to focus on instead of two or three. So tonight's stream will be brought to you by Taco Bell Baja Blast Zero, aka Hash Brown, not sponsored, but please sponsor us if you want, because fuck yeah, it's delicious. All right, so I will start my recording, and since there's nobody to sync with on the video, there's no clap needed. So Yeah, no clap tonight because, we only do that for the editing. And this will be edited on the back end, but because we know how people like their back ends edited. I should clap just to point it out. You're right. So yeah, just so it's there for, because Gibbs is going to do the video editing, but yeah. So so I'll just do the clap, and then I'll go ahead and get rolling with the show. So if y'all are ready, sync clap. There she is. And if y'all are ready, we'll go ahead and kick it off for tonight. Welcome to the Now We Consume podcast, everyone. Tonight, I'm your host, Pip, and I am flying solo. Gibbles and Gibbs are dealing with some life issues. Gibbs is trying to not be a fleshlight to Snowmageddon 2.0, and Gibbles is just dealing with some general life shenanigans. So tonight, you've got little old me, and I'm going to try to not just sit here and yell into the microphone for the next hour, and try to keep this as enjoyable as I can. So previously on this show, we have discussed the housing crisis and the need for being prepared for disasters of varying scales. And the overall sense of impending dread that a lot of Americans feel day in and day out is kind of an overarching concept that we kind of play on and talk about in one form or another in all of our episodes. But tonight, I'm going to touch on some of the reasons why that is, and I'm sure that some or most of you even can relate. So right now in 2026, there's about a 2.8% cost of living adjustment. That little bump feels like a participation ribbon, while groceries and utilities lap it around twice. The dollar is tanking to 4-year lows. Imports are getting pricier than ever, and a lot of people are not choosing to go off-grid just because it's a feel-good move. It's wallet survival. Here in Ohio and some other rural spots all around, I'm seeing things like solar panels and alternative energy sources going up more than I am subdivisions. But there's a little bit of a twist on that. The costs that are pushing people to unplug, they're being curtailed by governments that are cracking down on the very folks that are trying to make it work. So once again, you've got Big Daddy government saying, we're going to make it impossible for you to survive, but also impossible for you to thrive. So everyone's favorite conundrum. So we've got a little bit of a economic squeeze, and it's coming down to necessity, not choice. The Social Security Administration has a 2.8% cost of living adjustment, like I just mentioned, and it's adding roughly peanuts, about $56 a month on average, versus real spikes like food and energy, up about 6 to 10% overall. Housing, about 12% year over year in some spots. Now, that's more in some, less than others. The dollar is down roughly 9% from 2025. Well, that was in 2025, excuse me. And even more already in 2026. And we're only 2 months in. Inflation, we all know, we've all felt it. Our grocery bills are up higher than ever, and we're getting less and less in our carts. Here in Ohio, we have a slight edge over some other states. For example, the cost of living here is roughly 8% below the national average. But some of the rural folks are hit hard on things like fuel and utilities, because why not? So we've got this weird little thing where it feels like the dollar kind of went on a diet, so it looks slimmer, but it's kind of hangry and taking it out on your grocery bill. So now, keeping all this in mind, remember that it's not luxury minimalism. It's families and homesteaders kind of ditching the grid dependence because traditional housing is more and more out of reach for so many people. And this is starting to echo the overarching national housing crisis. First time house buyers are at record lows. Homelessness is starting to see record highs in a lot of areas. It's starting to track out of the major cities and into the suburbs. Multi-generational houses are starting to become popular again, but not out of the old belief systems that used to kind of encompass all those. It's out of a need for survival. And more people are not just getting together to be a multi-generational house. It's friend groups. It's just sets of people who are able to scrape together and pool together their resources, buy a couple pieces of land, and setting up essentially a small homestead so that they can all just survive and thrive together and get by as a small group. And that's becoming more and more popular all across the country where it's allowed. And that's kind of a really weird concept. You would think here in America, allowed is just kind of a given in most places, but that's not the full picture. Kind of touching back on that, yeah, family compounds, like I was just saying, the idea that you can get a large tract of land and then divide it among families, or like I said, just friends, and multiple houses can be built on that. There are more and more regulations coming down that are keeping that from happening. So it's getting harder and harder to make that happen. So you can have a primary house on a tract of land, but if you don't divvy out the property so that John has X acres and Betty Sue has X acres, then you're going to start getting into a lot of really bad gray areas and red tape, depending on your state, which kind of tracks into the whole federal overreach and states' rights kind of issues that we've had for a while. But I think personally, a lot of that's going to start changing if things don't get better and you start seeing more and more stuff like this kind of taking off. So let me touch on that here in a second. So the surge of the unplug, there's some stats that I want to kind of touch on. Off-grid searches have been up roughly 150% just since 2020. So of all the searches that go on the internet day in and day out, people are searching for ways to go off-grid more and more for the last 6 years. So let that sink in for just a second. You've got homestead starts that are booming, roughly 60%, and that's tracking with the inflation that has been occurring since COVID set in. The 2026 tech that has become available is helping. You've got solar efficiency that has started to go higher and higher, batteries and all the tech that's associated with that is getting cheaper and more reliable. That's helping to cut energy costs where it can be put in place by up to 70%. Now, I say where it can be put into place because, again, our wonderful regulations and the overlords that come with it are saying, no, you can't do that unless you have certain people and pay us our fees and get your permits and do this the right way. The people that are in charge of this stuff are going to regulate survivability out of existence if the people don't speak up and say something. So that's why I said I really think things are going to change if things don't get better quickly. So the off-grid units and the supplies, like I said, are becoming more available and more reliable. And that's an important thing because people are having to make their dollars stretch further. We all know that. And if you're going to dish out the money for a piece of tech that's going to help make your life easier, it's got to last. It's got to be worth, the juice has to be worth the squeeze, you know? And as much as I hate to say it, the stuff that we're seeing coming out of China and some of these other smaller countries, it's getting harder to compete with American-made stuff because cost versus performance, their quality is getting better. And I hate saying that. But if it's on the shelf and it's a good purchase, I mean, you got to do what you got to do. Some other perks that are showing up on a state-by-state basis. Rural land is becoming more and more affordable. In some areas, it's down as low or lower than $5,000 an acre. I know, some of my friends have been kind of poking around in some areas. Out west, in some states, you can get hundreds of acres for a few $100,000. So it's not terrible. These pieces of land do exist. There are homestead exemptions that exist in many states, but the zoning will vary pretty wildly by county and by state. There's a bit of a national contrast. States like Colorado, Oregon, and Texas, and some others, are seeing crackdowns on, get this, rainwater collection, or even tiny homes. Especially van life and RV, homelessness, that's being criminalized by as much as a 60% jump, more so in the big cities. They're trying to ban it outright. They're towing people's, essentially, homes at that point, trying to instill heavy fines just for people trying to live and get by in whatever means they can afford. Now, personally, I think that's extremely fucked up. If you're only able to afford a van that you can convert into a house, and don't get me wrong, I have seen some of the ways that people have done this. They put these things up on YouTube. Some of them are pretty fucking incredible. I mean, they have managed to turn every square inch into livable, usable space. And honestly, some of these things have a bigger footprint in them than some of these apartments that are available in New York. So that's A, kind of pathetic, but B, kind of awesome too. I know there's some people and places that are taking things like U-Haul trucks and converting them into essentially mobile houses. Not a terrible idea. Old buses, old campers and such. I mean, literally anything that can be converted into a house and made livable is being done. But you've got these cities saying, no, we don't want that here because it makes the city look bad. Okay, what makes the city look worse? And this is a question that I'd love some feedback on. A bunch of empty, rundown houses sitting everywhere, or maybe some lots that are filled with people's cars, trucks, vans, buses that are taking care of everything and just getting by because they can afford that. But they can't afford these $1 million houses that are the size of an egg carton. So, I don't know. Y'all tell me. You know, I had some jokes in here, but they just don't hit right. But let me ask you this. Do you guys feel that if you're in the right position, is unplugging more of an empowerment move or a symptom of inequality? Because when the system is kind of rigged, and I'm talking like taxes favoring high earners or low income pay, you know, going off grid is more about survival and less about rebellion. But there are some people who feel like going off grid and just unplugging from the primary grid and whatever is a form of sticking the finger to the government and just saying, you know, fuck you, I'm going to do this on my own. So I'd love some feedback on that. But as I had said, there's some government crackdown that's coming in the form of outright punishment of what amounts to just basic survival. And there's a bit of irony in that. While costs are forcing people to unplug, the regulations are starting to tighten on just simple living. You've got zoning ordinances that are keeping people from being able to do the things that they want to do, like putting up solar panels in their yard, rainwater collection systems, farm animals on their property, things, chickens, ducks, whatever. All these things that will help make their lives easier, they're trying to ordinance their way out of them, or allowing them to have happen. They're criminalizing RV and van dwellings, like I had said. There are over 140 cities that ban vehicle sleeping currently. States are expanding this into overnight bans. So you can live there through the day, you just can't sleep there during the night. So what good does that do? Tiny homes on wheels are being restricted, so it must be a permanent dwelling in many spots, and you have to have utility hookups. So they want you on that grid teat. So there goes the whole green energy thing that they push for left and right. Rainwater rules, septic and compost toilet fights, camping bans on your own land in places like Colorado. It's your land. You're supposed to be able to do whatever the fuck you want. So why can't you camp on it? A lot of places, people will buy a piece of land, set up a camper, and build a house on it. They'll live in the camper while the house is being built. That's no longer allowed in many places. So where's the justification for that? In Colorado, there are county battles over off-grid homesteads. So that's something to keep an eye on, because I think when those play out in court, it's going to kind of set the precedent for a lot of other places. Some specifics that I was able to pull here for Ohio. We have some zoning that varies county to county. There are some counties in the southern part of the state, just because they're a little more economically depressed, they're a little bit more relaxed. But building codes demand at least 950 square foot for permanent homes. Tiny homes are often wheeled only. So you can have a tiny home, but it has to be mobile in some manner. So what some people are doing is they're putting them on trailers and just kind of making the trailers stationary-ish, so you can just have the wheels on them, but the trailers are secured to the ground. So they're getting around that somehow. Let's see. Permits for solar and electrical, as well as septic, are pretty common, but there's no statewide ban here. But local law enforcement can enforce grid ties. So they're saying you can basically own a gun, but the collection bigger than the house. But try the composting toilet without paperwork. But you can own a gun collection bigger than my house, but a composting toilet, you better have your paperwork. So yeah. Sorry, I had that one written in there, and I wanted to make sure I said it, but it was split. So yet again, I dropped the ball on that. So are these actually safety regulations, or do you guys feel like they're just kind of targeting the desperate people? So when folks really can't afford grid life, I personally feel like they're punishing the off-grid setups, and they're widening the gap, because it's starting to be privilege for those who actually can comply versus fines and jail time for those who can't. So it's there's an old book, I can't remember the name of it, but they essentially first make a criminal and then punish them for being a criminal. So and something that I had kind of put in here, this was just kind of a hypothetical. What if Ohio's rural counties, or even other states similar to Ohio, became more or less unplug havens? Freedom versus isolation. You've got a lot of states that are bigger than Ohio that have the room to offer people the ability to do this, more so out west. But if these states kind of open up their regulatory requirements, they can more or less set the definition and the tone for all of this, the unplugged mentality, and kind of allow people to just start coming in, help set the framework, help set the baselines, and help people decide what needs to happen, what should happen, and what could happen. So it's kind of a, if you build it, they will come kind of mentality. They're showing my age there. Quote that movie. So, practical reality check that needs to happen, as well as a little bit of hope. And I know that we've talked about some of this stuff on the show before, mostly in some of our episodes dealing with like general preparedness and disaster planning. The messed up thing is that when you're planning for a disaster, that can actually get you further ahead in life if you need to pivot your lifestyle, like in an overarching sense as well. So here are a few tips if you want to kind of dive into that mentality or anything else to kind of set yourself up a little bit. You can start small. Like we've said before, there are some solar kits out there. Now, it sounds pricey, but the overall kind of baseline, it's not. It is, but it isn't. They range between $2,000 and $5,000, but if you spread that cost out a little bit, there are various options. It's well worth it, especially when you need it. I mean, in an extended blackout emergency, you will be so glad that you spent that money when you did. For one, I have a 3 kilowatt solar system that I bought to run my wood shop, because rewiring my garage was going to run, I think they quoted me 17.5, and the solar generator that I got is the battery unit and 2 solar panels, and it's on wheels, the battery kit. This thing runs everything I need. It runs all my wood processing tools. I can take it with me anywhere I need. I can run appliances in the house if I need to. I can take it camping. I can take it, put it in the car, go anywhere I need. This thing is awesome. And for what I paid for, I was able to get it on sale at Lowe's. And it's a Jackery kit. The list price is well over $3,000, but it goes on sale routinely for half that. So I got it when it was on sale. The kit I have has an RV hookup. So I haven't tested anything like 220 because none of my stuff is set up for it. But I think the next step up will run the 220, or you can do 2 of these units that I have and get 220 that way. But there are other options for that as well. But this thing has a lot of power reserve. It's, like I said, it's a 3 kilowatt system. So that's one. And that's just a Jackery one. Anchor's a good brand. There's a lot of stuff out there, and that's just solar kits. Wind, you can tie in other things to get wind and whatnot. Water is becoming more and more accessible. Again, the tech is out there, and it's starting to proliferate even more. Rural grants are becoming more and more available. There's a lot of exemptions that are being made available to the public as well. So poke around if you're interested in this stuff, see what's available in your area, and reach out to other people that are doing this stuff. There are prepper communities left and right that have an ungodly amount of information on this stuff. Milk them, you know? They will share the information because it's good for a lot more people to have this stuff than for them to just kind of hoard it. One other thing, I highly suggest this. Research the mental toll of isolation, because going down that path and trying to prepare for surviving alone, that's not for everybody. Trying to go at it and just survive the zombie apocalypse, by yourself, not a game you want to play. Chickens, they're great eggs, but they're terrible roommates. They will steal your food and judge your life choices. Anybody who's raised chickens can tell you that. Long-term sustainability, you can kind of use the off-grid stuff as a hedge against economic chaos, but the needs of community pushback, you have to find people that you can group together with and prevent overreach. So, what can you take away from all this? Unplugging is not so much a trend as it's more and more becoming kind of a necessity. It really depends on where you live. It depends on your personal situation, your family situation, and the needs of your environment. Costs of living and everything, costs of survival are starting to crush buying power. The dollar is worth less and less every single day, and we all feel it. Governments are starting to crack down on survival setups. And honestly, that's not protection. It's punishment for people that are trying to adapt. All across the country, the real fix might be finding ways to ease the regulations so that folks can thrive instead of just survive in fear. Now, there are some grassroots movements that are starting to win in the off-grid communities. It's small and it's few and it's spread all around, but a win is a win. Take what we can get. So, if any of you guys are making any movements to unplug, or if you have faced any of the regulation bullshit, collecting rainwater and you've been hit with a fine or any of that stuff, I'd love to hear about it, because that's the kind of shit that needs to be shared. The government should not be able to tell you that you cannot collect the water that falls from the sky on your own land. Period. Like, I run a well. I would literally have to collect the rainwater if anything like that happened. If anything happened to my well. Hit us up on the socials and tell us what you've run into. Or even like, what's the dumbest regulation you've encountered? Do you guys have any plans to adapt your life to try and future-proof things a little bit? Or maybe even add some backup power supplies and food stores? Or if you already have, what kind of stuff have you found that works? What have you found that doesn't work? Like, we're still kind of in the winter up here in Ohio, and my pellet heater that I have, it's been great. I want a second one for my downstairs because my furnace kind of sucks ass. It's undersized, but replacing it is just too goddamn expensive. So I bought my pellet heater to kind of offset that. I've been looking at those little compact diesel heaters so that I can have heat out in that wood shop of mine that's actually in the garage. Because my garage is not a fun place to be when it's 17 degrees outside in the garage. So, and again, if you guys have any input on any of the stuff that I've talked about tonight, we would love to hear any of your feedback. If you're seeing any of the stuff like solar projects here, again in Ohio, we just had a fairly sizable back and forth between some of the communities and some solar projects that are trying to go in. They're trying to keep solar from going in on farmland. Now, I'm kind of on the fence about stuff like that, and I would love to hear back from you guys on this, because solar on farmland is both beneficial and kind of a bad thing, right? They have solar panels that will allow light to pass through them and still generate usable power, like good usable power. Also, they're finding that some of the fields that they put the solar panels in, some crops are growing better with higher yields because of the condensation. The moisture levels are rising because the panels are there. More shade. Some of the crops are doing better. Now, obviously, more research and whatnot needs to go into it, but a little bit of work will go a long way. So there are conversations that need to be had. As far as the homestead stuff, the van life, the conversion stuff, I mean, I'm sure you guys have seen that stuff too. But if you've run into any of those issues or seen any just amazing renovations or conversion projects, share them. Those things are always good to share and pass along and everything else. But again, I just want to kind of emphasize before I wrap up the show, because I didn't want to go into an hour plus rant on this thing. Like I said earlier, this is not something that people are doing because they want to. People are coming together because the cost of life is just getting out of hand. Trying to work together, trying to find ways to cohesively live as a group unit. It's tough. I mean, life is tough, period. But when you're trying to bring in multiple households into the same close proximity, it's tough. And you've got to find ways to work on your, I want to say politics, but just trying to find ways to communicate and problem solve together. When you bring that many people in that are from different households and different upbringings together, you're essentially forming your own little community. And you've got to have ways to solve your problems, work out issues, and work together no matter what. Especially if things get worse. If we're into those disaster scenarios that we've talked about before, problem solving is a skill. I wish to hell they taught it in school, but the younger generations can't problem solve for shit. I think we've all seen that. Some of them can't problem solve how to tie their shoes, but I mean, it's up to us to kind of keep this stuff going. So, that's pretty much all I had for tonight. So if you guys want to share any of your stories, we welcome them. And I think we're going to go ahead and call the episode there. So thank you all for listening. I hope you all enjoyed the show. And next week, we should be back with a full episode with both of my co-hosts. Other than that, I love you all. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you all next time. All right. Well, that's the primary episode, so I'll just go ahead and chill out for a little bit on the after show. I knew this wasn't going to be a very long show to begin with, but it was a tad bit shorter than I had hoped. I hope you all enjoyed that. Farrell, what the fuck did you send me? Jesus Christ. Why is Mansley now so obsessed with the mayo? Good fucking God. You have access to our Discord, right? I mean, you can freely share this stuff. Yeah, you did. Okay. Oh, okay. I'll go ahead and snag this because that's absolutely share worthy. Let's see. So if anybody has not tuned in the last few episodes, we've had this kind of running joke where Mansley, the character in the mask from our cover, has been involved in some mayonnaise-based shenanigans because of some stuff that was said on the show about all of us, the hosts. And it's gotten kind of out of hand, and this is kind of scary, actually, because goddamn. Okay, let me see. I need this. We need that. Oh, no, it's not that. I need, yeah, we'll do that. Let's see. God, this is glorious. Farrell, good job on this. Oh, God, that's, yeah, that's pretty great. Yeah. Oh, yeah, I don't know why Bansley looks so angry, but I'm not sure if he's angry or excited because that mayo jar is dripping, and either he's got just an unlimited supply of mayo or he's making his own, if you know what I'm saying. So, yeah, buddy. Mansley is on it tonight. God, Liz, I hope you didn't just join in because, yeah, that's a hell of a thing for you just to walk into, you know, casually as one does. Oh, yeah, that's a thing. Oh, poor Liz, just seeing that out of nowhere. Peanut butter as a body lotion. So I'll say this. When it comes to peanut butter on the body, the closest proximity is when you have like that really horrible poo episode and it's stuck in your ass crack, and the closest thing you can think of is trying to wipe peanut butter out of shag carpet. So there's that. Liz, you should share his information and we can just harass the ever-loving shit out of him, because getting ghosted is no bueno. That's terrible. What do you think, gang? Should we harass somebody for ghosting someone? Oh, okay. Well, that's also terrible. No, I don't want to dox somebody. I just wanted to maybe send them some menacing messages, you know, like a mysterious ice cream cone out of nowhere, maybe, you know. Gibbs shows up for the new post. Oh, buddy, you missed it, bud. Come on, dude. It's this show. You should know. Mm. Oh, yeah, dude. The primary episode is over. It was kind of short. It was about half hour or so. So I'm just kind of in the after show now. I don't want chickens. I wouldn't be opposed to it, but I just don't want them. Yeah. No, dude, it's fine. I know you're getting ready for the Snowmageddon fleshlight situation. So yeah, you're good. I do not need chickens. But Gibbs, I do hope you go back and listen to the episode later. I want us to kind of go back and do maybe like a whole episode breakdown on some of this stuff because it's worth expanding on. I don't need chickens to watch eat mice. I have a vicious dog that will eat yard pigs. And she is 14-0 against the groundhogs right now. So watching her destroy those things is way more fun. I got to try to get that on video this year. Because when she goes in for the kill, it is just God. She goes from stupid, happy, tongue out, panting and frolicking through the yard into like vicious, spot on, laser designated kill machine. Takes out the yard pig, and then she's right back to happy, frolicking, tongue out idiot. So. Gibbs knows his chickens. He has chickened for a little while. A non-consensual chicken tender. I like how that is both technically accurate and comically valid. Gibbs is in fact a chicken tender. He is a chicken tender of chicken nuggets. Yes. God, that actually works. Yeah. How are the new ones working out? Did they get dropped off okay? They take into the new coop environment? And with the fucking 2.0 heading your way, are y'all kind of batting down with your hatches? Yeah, but Gibbles isn't allowed to make coops anymore because he forgets gravity exists when he's working on them. Oh. So you're getting into the arenas now. All right, cool. Yeah, Gibbles, one of our other co-hosts, was building a chicken coop and decided that he would forgot gravity existed for a little while he was up on top of the coop, and proceeded to promptly wreck his ass on the ground from on top of the coop. So. Oh no, whatever would you do? But see, like I was just talking about, there it is. It's illegal in your city to raise chickens, yet they make your life easier. So, well, they don't make your life easier. They like they do, but they don't. So, you know, back during the egg shortage, you were living like a king, I know, but you know. Yeah. You know, that brings up a point. You could like fabricate a notice from the city and show it to somebody and get rid of the coop altogether. Well, okay, so that's a class of people that just do things because they're going to do things. So, and yeah, they will do things in their, I'm not going to get into it. No, dude, I'm tempting you. You should totally, no, ma'am. We are not going to Tractor Supply soon. They have their chickens in, so no. You could totally fabricate a city of your city and make a thing that says you can no longer have chickens. A buddy of mine that I work with, he has ducks. They are disastrous to raise. Essentially, they're disgusting and dirty, and they're worse than chickens. Now, I do love duck meat. That is quite tasty when cooked properly and applied liberally with some various sauces. Duck meat is quite tasty. So there is that. But yeah, no. Like I said, the main episode is already done. I hope you go back and listen to it. There was a lot of good stuff in it. Um, I think it's worth kind of expanding on and kind of covering again in more detail. Maybe later in the year when there's some new numbers, new stats, we could hit it again. But there's a lot of stuff going on both all around the country and in the courts for this kind of stuff. So people are being forced into, you know, situations where they just have to survive, and it's getting harder and harder to do it because of regulations and that kind of shit. So I thought it was a good episode, at least information wise. So awesome. Yeah, I'll have the episode edited down and posted here shortly. So yeah, don't forget to hydrate. Stay warm. Take breaks as needed. Hey, I went to the gym today, and you don't know this. My arms have been absolutely useless for the last couple days because, like a dumbass, I overdid it. I could not hardly move my arms. I could not pick up my magic bag that weighs like, you know, 10 bricks or something. I had literal noodle arms. They were like retracting at rest. It was mostly like right through here at the bicep kind of bend on both arms. I know it was my own fault, but I was not to the point of wacky, inflatable, flailing arm tube man or pip man. You know, I was not, you know, out here. But no, it was fucking painful, dude. It hurt. I'm just now to the point where I can actually extend my arms again. So, but yeah, went to the gym today and just did the treadmill for almost an hour. So that was good. No arms, of course. I'll wait till later in the week. But I guess my son did 400 on the leg press. So good for him. Anchor arms for Christmas. God damn you guys. Yeah, he's, what is he, like $135? And he's pushing 400 on the leg press, so yeah, that's pretty solid for his size. I'm not getting anchor arms. Oh yeah, dude, that's a pre-game some ibuprofen before you go out there shoveling. Definitely do that. I am not getting anchor arms. You cannot make me. You're bigger than me. You might be able to make me. I don't know. Oh. I do want to get a new tattoo, though. Just not anchor arms. We'll see about that, man. I want to get a caffeine molecule, like maybe on my chest or something, because I love caffeine. But filled your car with gas? Hell yeah. Definitely do that. Dude, I had to use my car to smooth out my driveway after I got it shoveled down, just so I could have some spots to drive in, because I had over a foot of snow. We don't get that kind of snow here, but you know, we did. So I will be the caffeine. Yeah. But the other tattoos I want to get are like shenanigan tattoos. I want to get the raccoon with a little wizard hat throwing the Molotov cocktail saying, "I cast fireball." I want to get the goose with the knife in its mouth saying, "Become ungovernable." Tattoo shop and Tractor Supply is a hell of a date night. Yeah, that could be something. So yeah, I the cracked out raccoon that says, "I ask for cuddles, all I get are struggles." Oh, just some crazy shit like that. Born to snuggle, forced to struggle. Only if there's a can of ether sitting next to it. maybe a bottle of roofies. Smell this rag. Does it smell like ether? No, it smells like cum. Shit, wrong rag. Oh. A roofies can in the photo of Bill Cosby? Absolutely. Franklin and Buff. Yeah, those two are always a trip. Oh, but all right, guys. I think I'm going to go ahead and get the episode edited down and get it posted. Gibbs, if you could snag the stream video and work your finger magic on that, that would be greatly appreciated. But yeah, other than that, everyone, thanks for hanging out. Roxa Beers and God, I'm terrible asshole. Thank you for chilling out with us tonight. I hope everybody enjoyed the show, and yeah, I'll catch y'all in the Discord later. So, thanks for hanging out.